Hello all. So in this video lecture, we are completing the whole syllabus of EVS Environmental Science 1 AEC paper. So this is the fourth unit's second part. We are continuing here with noise pollution. So any unwanted, disturbing or harmful sound that impairs or interferes with hearing causes stress, then hampers concentration and work efficiency or causes accidents. That is noise pollution. It is considered to be any unwanted or disturbing sound that affects the health and well-being of humans and other organisms. Sound is measured in decibels. There are many sounds of the environment, from rustling leaves 20 to 30 decibels to a thunderclap 120 decibels to the wail of a siren 120 to 140 decibels. Sounds that reach 85 decibels or higher can harm a person's ear. Sound sources that exceed this threshold include familiar things such as power lawn mowers, then subway trains, loud rock concerts, and all. Not these decibels also, okay? Types of noise pollution: man-made, environmental. Man-made noise pollution refers to the noise created due to man-made activities. It can be anything from construction work, noise from the air, vehicular traffic, household noise, noise from pubs and bars. Okay, ranging from 30 to a whopping 140 decibels, this form of noise is extremely harmful to humans. Next is environmental noise. This refers to the kind of noise occurring from a range of environmental activities. This can be anything from the mating call of animals to the sound of thunderstorms that often go up to 140 decibels. Following are the causes and sources of noise pollution. First is industrialization. It has led to an increase in the noise pollution as the use of heavy machinery such as generator, mill, huge exhaust fans, resulting in the production of unwanted noise. Then increased number of vehicles on roads are the second reason for noise pollution. The honking. Okay. Then weddings. Public gatherings involve loudspeakers to play music, DJ, everything. Then mining, construction of building, etc. add to the noise pollution. The hazardous. The effects are highly hazardous to human health in following ways. So the number of people, you can see the triangle. This will really help you to know the situation. So the number of people who affects feeling of discomfort are more. And again, when the severity is increased, the people affected are decreased. Okay, stress indicators, then risk factors like blood pressure, cholesterol, blood clotting, glucose, then insomnia, cardiovascular. In Kerala and many states or many cities, or for many functions in church and all, the Nasik dollars in some churches, okay, Nasik dolls are prohibited because of the sound it causes. Okay, then for some it leads to mortality. So we can go in detail. So hypertension, it is a direct result of noise pollution which is caused due to elevated blood levels for a longer duration. Then constant exposure of human ears to loud noise that are beyond the range of sound that human ears can withstand damages the eardrum, resulting in loss of hearing. Then lack of sleep might result in the fatigue and low energy level throughout the day, affecting everyday activities. Noise pollution hampers the sleep cycles, leading to irritation and an uncomfortable state of mind. Then heart related problems such as blood pressure level, stress and cardiovascular disease might come up in a normal person, and a person suffering from any of these diseases might feel a sudden shoot up in the level. Any effect on wildlife. So noise pollution also impacts wildlife. Okay, it can interfere with the animal's ability for the mate call, then communicate, navigate and find food or avoid predators, and this can even be an existential threat to vulnerable organisms. You can refer to the pictures. Now, prevention of noise pollution. Some noise pollution preventive measures are provided in the points below. Honking in public places like teaching institutes, hospitals, etc. should be banned. In commercial, hospital and industrial buildings, adequate soundproof systems should be installed. Musical instruments, sound should be controlled to desirable limits. Dense tree covers is useful in noise pollution prevention. Explosives should be not used in forest, mountainous and mining areas. Through law, legislation can ensure that sound production is minimized at various social functions. Unnecessary horn blowing should be restricted, especially in vehicle congested areas. Now next is soil pollution. So it is defined as the presence of toxic chemicals in soil in high enough concentrations to pose a risk to human health or the ecosystem. In the case of contaminants which occur naturally in soil, even when their levels are not high enough to pose a risk, soil pollution is still said to occur if the levels of the contaminants in soil exceed the levels that should naturally be present. Okay. Poor agricultural practices, improper solid waste management, unsafe storage of hazardous chemicals and nuclear waste, leachates from mismanaged landfills, uncontrolled dumping of waste from households, industrial plants, mining are the causes for soil pollution. Long-term exposure to such soil can affect the genetic makeup of the body, causing congenital illness and chronic health problems that cannot be cured easily. Ecological balance of any system gets affected due to widespread contamination of the soil. So if it, in terms of, in perspective of ecosystem, loss of biodiversity happens. Bees, butterflies, reptiles, birds, mammals, because they're having toxic fodder when the soil is contaminated, right? And for people, humans, nervous system, health problems, affects the nervous system, digestive system, sterility and other reproductive disorders, immune system, birth defect, kidneys, lungs, cancer and all. Solutions. Urge your government to clean up contaminated sites. Reduce the use of antimicrobial, including antibiotics in the livestock sector. Buy organic food. Establish guidelines for the reduction and efficient use of fertilizers and pesticides in agriculture. Invest in long-term environmental monitoring following industrial closures. Adopt agroecological practices such as integrated pest management. Next is thermal pollution. Thermal pollution can be defined as presence of waste heat in the water which can cause undesirable changes in the natural environment. Thermal pollution is defined as a sudden increase or decrease in temperature of a natural body of water, which may be ocean, lake, river or pond, by human influence. Heat producing industries like thermal power plants, nuclear power plants, refineries, steel mills, etc. are the major source of thermal pollution. Power plants utilize only 1/3 of the energy provided by fossil fuels for their operations. Remaining 2/3 is generally lost in the form of heat to the water used for cooling. Cold water generally is drawn from some nearby water body, passed through the plant and returned to the same water with temperature 10 to 16 degrees Celsius higher than initial temperature. Excess of heat reaching such water bodies causes thermal pollution of water. We can refer to this diagram. And as I always say, if these questions are appearing in the previous year question papers that we'll discuss later, I'll be giving notes on the functioning of these also. Next is effects. The dissolved oxygen content of water is decreased as the solubility of oxygen in water is decreased at high temperature. High temperature becomes a barrier for oxygen penetration into deep cold waters. Toxicity of pesticides, detergents and chemicals in the effluents increases with increase in temperature. The composition of flora, fauna, that is plants and animals, changes because the species sensitive to increased temperature due to thermal shock will be replaced by temperature tolerant species. Then metabolic activities of aquatic organisms increase at high temperature and require more oxygen, whereas oxygen levels falls under thermal pollution. Discharge of heated water near the shores can disturb spawning and can even kill young fishes. Fish migration is affected due to formation of various thermal zones. Now control pollution. One is cooling pond, then spraying pond, then cooling towers. Refer to these refer to these diagrams if required. In the previous year question papers I'll be giving explanations in the coming examination revision classes and all. Okay, just take a screenshot and refer to this. Next is nuclear hazard. Nuclear hazards refer to the incidents involving the release of significant levels of radioactive materials and exposure of general public or the natural environment to nuclear radiation. The nuclear hazards primarily affect public health due to direct exposure to radioactive materials, inhalation of radioactive waste, ingestion of contaminated food, water, etc. And long-term exposure to radioactive materials in the environment leads to acute or chronic health and environmental damage. Acute means lung diseases, respiration problems, breathing problems and all. Chronic means cancer, like the diseases. Radioactivity. It is the property exhibited by certain types of matter of emitting energy and subatomic particles spontaneously. It is in essence an attribute of individual atomic nuclei. Refer to these also: neutron, Y-ray, X-ray, beta particles, alpha particles. Okay, types of radiation and penetration. Alpha particles till this only. The paper can be opaque for that, but for beta particles it reaches till the aluminum plate. Then X-rays, lead, Y-rays, lead itself. Then neutron, concrete. Okay. Then sources of radioactivity. Natural sources of natural radioactivity include cosmic rays from outer space, radioactive radioactive soil, rocks, air, water and food which contain one or more radioactive substances. Anthropogenic, that is man-made. Man-made sources. These sources are nuclear power plants, nuclear accidents, X-rays, diagnostic kits, test laboratories, etc. where radioactive substances are used. Effects. Nuclear energy produces tons of radioactive waste. We are constantly exposed to minute particles of radioactivity from sources like cosmic rays. We are completely unaware that we end up inhaling this air around us. This leads to serious health issues. Nuclear power plants are not very reliable. These areas are prone to accidents. They release toxic radiation. Chernobyl incident in Soviet is an example for that. It witnessed the death of more than 10,000 people due to being exposed to such radiation for a longer time. Nuclear emission pollute the environment to a greater extent. They affect the natural quality of the air as well. When coming up upon contact with water, they also corrode aquatic life and cause soil erosion. Agriculture is heavily affected by this. Now, what are some health effects of radiation? A dose of like 1/2 to 1 sievert will cause radiation sickness. Delayed effects, immediate effects are vomiting and diarrhea, bleeding, reduction in number of blood cells, bone marrow damage. Then delayed effects are cataract, fries and all. Then genetic damage caused by DNA molecules being broken, cancer, anemia, temporary sterility. Next is nuclear reaction. So a nuclear reaction can be defined as the process where one or more than one nuclides are formed due to the collision between two nuclei or a single nucleus and a subatomic foreign particle from exterior environment. Nuclear reactions are categorized into two major types. Both play an equal and unique role in the production of energy. One is nuclear fission. Nuclear fission is defined as the process where an atomic nucleus splits up into two or more parts, accompanied by the release of tremendous energy. Here usually the larger or the heavier nucleus is called parent nucleus, and when it splits up into parts, the lighter part is known as daughter nucleus. Okay. Next is nuclear fusion. Two nuclei that are lighter by nature come together to merge and thereby form a heavier nucleus. A tremendous amount of energy is released in this merge. The reason behind this is the mass of the resultant nucleus is very less than the initial two separate nuclei. So this is the functioning of a nuclear power plant. Take a screenshot, have a check on this. Okay. Then advantages and disadvantages. Advantages: large fuel supply, low environmental impact for the nuclear power plant. Okay. Then emits 1/6 of much carbon dioxide as coal. Then moderate land disruption and water pollution. Then moderate land use. Then low risk of accidents because of multiple safety systems, except Chernobyl type reactors. Okay. Now the safety measures have increased. Disadvantages: cannot compete economically without huge government subsidies. Low net energy yield. High environmental impact with major accidents like Chernobyl and all. Okay. Environmental cost not included in the market price. Risk of catastrophic accidents. No widely acceptable solution for long-term storage of radioactive wastes. Subject to terrorist attack. Spreads knowledge and technology for building nuclear weapons. Next is ways to mitigate harmful effects of nuclear hazards. Nuclear hazards can pose serious risk to environment, humans and animal and plant life. Nuclear hazards can be mitigated by taking following measures. There must be robust design and construction of nuclear reactors so that any fault does not occur during operations of the reactor. Medical devices involving nuclear fuel and its use should be used with caution to prevent any undesirable exposure to nuclear material. Leakage of nuclear materials, radioactive elements, careless handling of radioactive elements must be fully ensured before carrying out any operations in nuclear facilities. There should be regular monitoring of areas that are prone to nuclear hazards. Nuclear waste should be disposed properly as to prevent any long-term presence of radioactive material. Long-term presence of radioactivity results in hidden and unwanted effects on human lives for longer periods of time. If there are any possibilities of release of radioactive materials, it must be ensured that adequate safety measures are in place to limit the spread of radioactive waste materials and their harmful effects on human lives. Next is solid waste management. Solid waste, any unwanted or discarded material we produce that is not a liquid or gas. Simple as that. Any waste which is not a liquid or gas. It can be divided into two. One is industrial solid waste produced by mines, agriculture, industries that supply people with goods and service. Next is municipal solid waste. It is called as garbage or trash, which consists of the combined solid waste produced by homes and workplace. Cardboard, food waste, cans, bottles and all. E-waste also included here. Now sources. So residential from like the single and multi-family dwellings, food waste, paper, cardboard, plastics, you can imagine like what all waste are generated in your home. Then in the commercial sources, so there can be hotels, stores, restaurants, market, office buildings, same as that. But we have metals, like somewhat same as the residential sources itself. But here we'll be having both places will be having hazardous and special wastes. Then institutional, again same only. Then municipal services, here we'll be having from street cleaning, landscaping, parks, beaches, recreational areas and all, we'll be having street sweepings, then landscape and tree trimmings, general waste from parks, beaches and other recreational areas. Then from construction and demolition, that is from new construction sites, road repairs, renovation sites, demolition of buildings, we'll get wood, steel, concrete and dirt. Effects of solid waste, you can see that here, these 4 pictures. Municipal solid waste heap up on roads due to improper improper disposal system. People clean their own houses and litter their immediate surroundings, which affects the community including themselves. Waste produce foul smell and breeds various types of insects and infectious organisms, besides spoiling the aesthetic of the site. Industrial solid waste are sources of toxic metal and hazardous waste which pollute air, water and soil. Burning of these materials produces toxic gases which have the potential to cause various types of ailments including cancer. Now, management of solid waste. For waste management, we stress on 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle, before destruction and safe storage of waste. Reduce, consume less and live a simpler lifestyle. Reuse, rely more on items that can be used repeatedly instead of on throwaway items, single-use plastics mainly. Buy necessary items second hand or borrow or rent them. Recycle, separate and recycle paper, glass, cans, plastics, metal and other items, and buy products made from recycled materials. From an environmental standpoint, the first 2 R's are preferred because they are input or prevention approaches that tackle the problem of waste production at the front end before it occurs. By reducing and reusing, we also save matter and energy resources, reduce pollution, help protect biodiversity, save money. Recycling is important, but it deals with waste after they have been produced. So this is how the solid waste management: collection, transportation, recovery, processing. Processing can be through anaerobic digester, compost, incineration. Incineration means burning in a high temperature. Okay. Then disposal, sanitary landfill. Okay. So incineration, the process of burning hazardous materials at temperatures high enough to destroy contaminants. Advantages of this burning is: reduces trash volume, less need for landfill, low water pollution, concentrates hazardous substances into ash for burial, sale of energy reduces cost. Then modern controls reduce air pollution. Some facilities recover and sell metals. Disadvantages: expensive, cost more than short distance hauling to landfill, difficult to site because of citizen opposition. Then air pollution and carbon dioxide emission with this burning. Older or poorly managed facilities can release large amounts of air pollution. Output approach that encourages waste production, because then people will say there is no worry, we can burn them, then why should we reuse and reduce? Okay. Then compete with recycling for burnable materials such as newspaper. It can compete. Okay. Next is sanitary landfill. Okay, with the diagram you can get an idea on what this is. So here, these are sites where waste is isolated from the environment until it is safe. So it is considered when it has completely degraded biologically, chemically and physically. Okay. In high income countries, the levels of isolation achieved may be high. So advantages are: no open burning, little odor, low groundwater pollution if sited properly, can be built quickly, low operating cost, can handle large amounts of waste, filled land can be used for other purpose, no shortage of landfill space in many areas. Then disadvantages: noise and traffic, then dust, air pollution from toxic gases and trucks, releases greenhouse gases, methane and CO2 unless they are collected, slow decomposition of waste, output approach that encourages waste production, eventually leaks and can contaminate groundwater. So next are some, what to say, case studies that you need to study on this, what to say, waste management. In Singapore, any discards going into the general waste bin will go straight to one of the waste to energy incineration plant. Okay, Singapore is a model that we all need to study. To reduce the waste, like by each day by 30% by 2030, they are aiming at this. So we can go over the case study of Singapore. Then hazardous waste. So hazardous waste are which threatens human health or the environment because it is poisonous, dangerously chemically reactive, corrosive or flammable. Industrial solvents, hospital medical waste, car batteries containing lead and acids, household pesticide, dry cell batteries which contain mercury and cadmium, ash from incinerators, coal burning power plants are an example for this. So in cleaning, we have disinfectants as the harmful chemicals in our home. Cleaning, disinfectants, drain, toilet and window cleaners, spot removers, septic tank cleaners. In gardening, pesticides, weed killers, any what to say, ant and rodent killers, flea powders. Paint products, paints, stains, varnishes, lacquers, paint thinner, solvents, stripper, wood preservatives, artist paints and ink. Then automotives, gasoline, used motor oil, antifreeze, battery acid, brake and transmission fluid. Then glues, cements, dry cell batteries, all are. Now some hazardous materials and possible sources. Let me check how much more we have to go. Oh, we have much more to go. Okay. So I'm not going in detail but in a hurry. So acids from ash from the power plants and incinerators, petroleum products and all. Acids, you know them. Then chlorofluorocarbons, CO2, I mean CFCs are like from the air conditioned refrigerators, even from what to say, paints and all. Then cyanide, metal refining, fumigants in ships, railway cars and warehouses and all. Then dioxins, emissions from incinerators and pulp and paper plants, explosives from old military installations, heavy metals and paints, pigments, batteries, ash from incinerators and all, arsenic from industrial processes, pesticides, additive to glass, paints and all, cadmium from batteries, incinerations, rechargeable batteries, okay, specifically. Then plastic, lead from lead acid storage batteries, stains, paints, TV picture tube, electronic discarded in landfills, mercury from coal burning power plants, paints, household cleaners, industrial processes, medicines, seed fungicides. Then infectious waste from hospitals, research labs, nerve gas from old military installations, organic solvents, then PCBs, that is polychlorinated biphiles, then pesticides, radioactive waste and all. Okay, you can have a screenshot, note down. So how is the management of hazardous waste? 3 levels of priority for dealing with hazardous waste. Produce less. So change industrial process to reduce or eliminate hazardous waste production, recycle and reuse them. Second is convert to less hazardous or non-hazardous substances. So we can shift to natural decomposition, incineration, thermal treatment, chemical, physical and biological treatment, dilution in air or water. Third, put in perpetual storage, landfill, underground injection wells, surface impoundments, underground salt formation. Next is ways to reduce your output of hazardous waste. Hazardous waste avoid using pesticides and other hazardous chemicals or use them in smallest amounts possible. Use less harmful and usually cheaper substances instead of commercial chemicals for most household cleaners. Now vinegar to polish metals, clean surfaces, remove stains and mildew, baking soda to clean utensils and all, borax to remove stains and mildew. Then do not dispose pesticides, paints, solvent, oil, antifreeze or other hazardous chemicals by flushing them down the toilet. Pour them down the drain, burying them, throwing them into the garbage, dumping them down storm drains. Instead, use hazardous waste disposal services available in many cities. Next is electronic waste or e-waste. They consist of discarded television sets, cell phones, computer, iPods, any electronic devices. It is the fastest growing solid waste problem in the United States and in world. Each year, Americans discard an estimated 155 million cell phones. So huge numbers are given. It's not important for us. Most e-waste ends up in landfills and incinerators, even though 80% of the components in these devices contain materials that can be recycled or reused. Effects. So e-waste is also a source of toxic and hazardous pollutants, including polyvinyl chloride, brominated flame retardants, lead and mercury, which can contaminate air, surface water, groundwater and soil and cause serious health problems and even early death for e-waste workers. Potential health impacts of electronic waste. So e-waste is listed as a scheduled waste under the Environmental Quality Regulation 2005. So the hazardous components here are lead, affects brain development, kidney damage, blood systems damage, beryllium, carcinogenic, there is lung cancer, skin diseases, PVCs. Dioxins are formed as a result of combustion process, reproductive and developmental problem, damaged immune system. Mercury affects the chronic damage to brain and respiratory system. Cadmium accumulates in kidney and liver, neural damage, teratogenic. Then barium, damage to heart and liver, spleen. Then muscle weakness, chromium, asthma and bronchitis. So this is an e-waste management. Old data is destroyed. So working electronics under reuse process, device details noted and functionality checked. Old data is destroyed permanently, resolved through remarketing channels. Obsolete electronic enters the recycle process, dismantled and threaded to optimal size. Separate parts are sorted, combined and new products are created. Now waste segregation. It is the sorting and separation of waste types to facilitate recycling and correct onward disposal. When waste is sorted correctly, it can save your company money. Waste segregation should be based on type of waste, the most appropriate treatment and disposal. It is the grouping of waste into different categories, as we know. Each waste goes into category of the point of dumping or collection, but sorting happens after dumping or collection. Segregation of waste ensures poor quality material. Sorting on the other hand will end up producing impure materials with less quality. So next is Ganga action plan. With the numericals that are not that important, but you can refer to that. So this was started in 1986 with the objective of 1986 with the object of pollution abatement from river Ganga. So this is a 100% centrally sponsored scheme. Under this scheme, the National River Ganga Basin Authority was established and declared Ganga as a national river of India. So this was launched by our then Prime Minister Sri Rajiv Gandhi. Okay, so now we have Namami Gang program. So this is an integrated conservation mission approved as a flagship program by the Union government in June 2014 with budget outlay of 20,000 crore, I guess, to accomplish the twin objectives of abatement of pollution and conservation and rejuvenation of national river Ganga. So now what we are having is Namami Gange program. So refer to the objectives. interception and diversion of industrial and domestic sewage to sewage treatment plants, installation of STPs to treat sewage, providing sanitation facilities to people residing near Ganga, installation of crematoriums, afforestation, public participation in cleaning the river. Next is Delhi air pollution. This is also something that you really need. I mean, majority of you will be confronting this. So this is also a case study you can refer to. Next is Bhopal gas tragedy. It is in 1984. So on the night of 3rd December, thousands died in 30 tons of highly toxic methyl isocyanate gas leaked from the Union Carbide factory in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. If you refer to this case study also. Then Exxon Valdez oil spill. This we had referred in our last unit. So this was the worst oil spill in US waters until the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010. Within days, oil from Exxon Valdez spread some 1,300 miles along the coast of what was pristine wilderness. Okay, we have gone through this in the last unit. Then Plastic Management Rule 2016. Plastic has multiple uses and the physical and chemical properties leads to commercial success. However, the indiscriminate disposal of plastic has become a major threat to the environment. In particular, the plastic carry bags are the biggest contributors of littered waste, and every year millions of plastic bags end up in the environment, and it takes an average of 1000 years to decompose completely. Therefore, to address the issue of scientific plastic waste management. Refer to this. In 2016, India frames plastic waste management rules, making brands or producers responsible for collecting waste generated from production, mandates phasing out of non-recyclable multi-layered plastic. In 2018, government amends rules on phasing out MLP to, that is multi-layered plastic, to include non-recyclable or non-energy recoverable or with no alternate use. Environment Ministry Minister Harshvardhan says single-use plastics will be phased out by 2022. In 2019, August 15th, Narendra Modi says there will be a significant step on October 2 to free India from single-use plastic. Contrary to expectations, no ban is announced on date. Okay, so when we check with 2022, okay, so this is the case of 2019. Some glitch is happening in my screen. Okay, so India banned the manufacture, distribution, stocking, sale and use of selected 19 single-use plastic items with effect from July 1st, 2022. Okay, so that is not provided here. So just note them. By 2022 July 1st, we had banned selected 19 single-use plastics. Now Plastic Waste Management Rules 2016. It aims in increasing minimum thickness of plastic carry bags from 40 to 50 microns and stipulate minimum thickness of 50 microns for plastic sheets, also to facilitate collection and recycle of plastic waste. Expand the jurisdiction of applicability from municipal area to rural areas. Then to bring responsibilities of producers and generators both in plastic waste management system, and to introduce collect bag system. Then introduce collection of plastic waste management fee through pre-registration of the producers. To promote use of plastic waste for road construction as per Indian Road Congress guidelines or energy recovery, that is gainful utilization of waste, and also address the waste disposal issue with this. So that's it. Thank you. We are done with the whole syllabus of AEC 1 EVS paper. I was in a hurry in the end because the video was getting really lengthy, and there is nothing much to explain here, so that's why. So thank you. Happy learning. Further we can discuss the previous year question papers.